My name's Melissa Reynolds, and I'm a faculty member in the Department of Chemistry and the School of Biomedical Engineering here at Colorado State University. And in our group, we're interested in making materials that are more advanced to solve the complex challenges of implantable materials. So in my particular lab, Therapeutic Materials and Biointerfacial Research, we're interested in both making novel materials as well as studying how these materials behave in hopes to be able to translate them into the clinical setting in the next few years. In our group, we make both polymer materials from basically scratch as well as composite materials that have a function that behaves very similar to the cells within our bodies normally. And so we do our own polymerization reactions, which is the process of actually making polymers, as well as blending and processing of different polymer assemblies for particular applications. In addition, we're very interested in understanding better the chemistry that happens at the blood-material interface, since this is what controls all the fundamental responses in the body when the materials are exposed. In our lab, as I had mentioned before, we make nitric oxide releasing polymers. And in order to make nitric oxide releasing polymers or pharmaceuticals or other types of materials, there needs to be a way to be able to store the nitric oxide in stable form. And the reason for this is because nitric oxide, as most people know, is a free radical, very reactive in the air. So we have to be able to store this in a form on molecules, whether they be polymers or small molecules, that then can be delivered where we need them. And one of the most common types of nitric oxide donor groups are called diazonium dialates, which is just a specific functionality that how you add them onto polymers is by reacting the substrates at high pressures with nitric oxide gas. And we have an example here where we've taken a substrate and that was normally soluble, so you started out with a clear colorless solution, and added nitric oxide at 80 psi of pressure until the precipitate started forming. The precipitate, or white powder, that you see in the solution now is actually a nitric oxide donor that now can be used to put into our composite materials to make a nitric oxide releasing surface.
Hi, my name is Cherelle Bishop, and I'm a graduate student in Melissa Reynolds Lab, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit right now about this polyurethane polymerization reaction. And I'm going to start by just explaining the setup and then talk about the reaction. Okay, so here we have our reaction setup, and we have our reaction vessel, which is attached to the stir, which basically just stirs the mixture. And then we have a condenser here, which just helps control the conditions inside the vessel. And then we also have our system all under nitrogen. And so the nitrogen comes from over here on the side and is pumped through this tubing up through the top and down through the reaction vessel that we have sealed off, and then comes back up through this tubing and down to the bubbler. And this helps us tell, the bubbler helps us tell that the system is closed and complete, because we have a bubble there, so you can tell that nitrogen is actually going through, and then it comes back out through here. So what we have going on here is a polyurethane reaction, which is between, we have two monomers. We have a diol and a diisocyanate that are coming together in a polyaddition reaction, or a polyaddition reaction. And it's basically sitting at 63 degrees Celsius in our oil bath. And you put the two reactions in and let it stir until it becomes this nice viscous mixture that you can see. And as long as you keep it at the right temperature, it doesn't get hard, and that's what we want. So next we're just going to take the vessel off and break the nitrogen, turn off all the water and nitrogen, and then we're going to come over and precipitate out our mixtures so that it actually, our polyurethane precipitates out. Because right now we don't have our polyurethane, but once we put it in the water, it's going to displace the dimethyl formaldehyde, which is the solvent that we have it under, and we'll replace it with water. So. Okay, so now after I've taken the reaction vessel off the setup, I'm just going to go ahead and pour this mixture straight into the water, and it's going to precipitate out. And so you just want to slow pour, and as you can see, it's just pouring straight into the water. Let's turn this down a bit. And so as it's turning white, that is our polyurethane precipitating out. Whereas above it's clear, which is our just the reaction mixture.